Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, that's been the slogan since I started this channel a long time ago, back in 2019, when I was just doing funny edits with a little bit of commentary, trying to expose the lunacy that I was seeing online, mainly with a focus on MSNBC and TYT. It's been quite the ride, and that's been the mission statement, to take on the dishonest left and these wannabe communist revolutionaries, and ultimately to win the culture war, to win the political battle. And well, now heading into 2025, it feels almost as if we did it. We freaking did it. Now, I'm not saying it's time for a total victory lap and that we should let our guard down. The threat of communist overtake is always alive and well. It's always present, lurking in the shadows, I suppose. But regardless of that, for now, it seems like the leftist cultural apparatus is being completely dismantled. And it's not me saying that, it's the studies, it's the stories. And let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so I got two headlines I want to show you guys today. And trust me when I tell you these headlines are absolutely legendary. Let's first start off with this one from the New York Post. According to a recent study, lefty political parties across the world are now more unpopular than any time since the Cold War, a staggering analysis of recent elections shows. The left suffered a record low average of just 45% of votes in dozens of ballots held globally last year, according to an analysis of 73 Democratic elections. In the United States and in Western Europe, progressives were even more unpopular, with left-leaning parties securing only 42% of their respective votes. The right, meanwhile, won 57% of average votes, representing the widest gap since 1990, the analysis found. And there's only one proper reaction to what I just read. It's exactly like I've been saying for years. So many people were dooming, especially after the 2020 election, but I've maintained basically since day one that the pendulum was gonna shift. And honestly, as the years have gone by, I've felt more and more reinforced in that belief. You know, I've been sitting here watching the left and their slow descent into madness. I mean, everything, nearly everything that they've done or been engaged in has simply gone too far. They've taken it all too far. And clearly, at some point, it was bound to backfire. When you're creating ministries of truths, allowing 10+ million people to enter the country illegally, decriminalizing crime, as ridiculous as that sounds, well, what do you think's gonna happen? We're gonna walk into this beautiful green valley known as the globalist leftist utopia? Everything's just gonna fix itself like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez suggested not so long ago? Just defund the police, and all of a sudden the whole world turns into a suburb? No, obviously not. Democrats unleashed chaos on the streets, violated constitutional rights and norms, denied people their civil liberties. They took everything too far, acted like fascists, and promoted the most insane cultural fads. I mean, truly destructive stuff eventually. The chickens were gonna come home to roost and the whole thing was bound to fall apart. And that is exactly what we are seeing, a total collapse of not just the Democrat Party, but leftism as a whole across the globe. And it was bound to happen. We saw the writing on the wall. You know, we've been involved in this, what people dub the culture war, for a long time, and it's been obvious that we've been winning. I mean, we've been winning since 2016. Now, I know, of course, outside of Donald Trump's 2016 win, us winning the culture war didn't necessarily translate into electoral victory until now, but it was obvious who was winning, and it was obvious why the Democrats were acting in the way that they were acting in the first place. I mean, why did they overstep? Why did they push all these censorship campaigns? Why did they go down the fascist road? Well, very simply because they were probably seeing the same thing that we were seing. An authentic right-wing grassroots movement that challenged the leftist status quo. That's what they saw in 2016, and that's essentially what they were so viciously reacting to. That's what they were trying to clamp down on. They knew exactly what was happening, and that's why the censorship was coming. They didn't want the truth exposed, but we live in a free society, unfortunate for them, and eventually the truth was revealed. And now they're completely spiraling. And honestly, in a way, it seems like almost everything they've built up, well, it's all slowly coming to a crashing end. We're not just taking over in the world of politics, we're also taking over the world of culture. Just as Elon Musk said, we are the news. I think what's equally true as we walk into this new era is that we're also becoming the culture. We are the culture. And things are moving fast, friends, especially going into this new administration, where it seems like the Trump administration is trying to capitalize on this shift of culture by setting their sights, setting their aim directly at Hollywood. Here's probably the biggest story that nobody's talking about. This is from Forbes.com. Trump names Mel Gibson, Jon Voight, and Sylvester Stallone as ambassadors to Hollywood. And so yeah, you know exactly what that means, right? The plan, I think, is to weed out all the woke crap in Hollywood from the inside out. And that, I think, is obvious based on the names that were given.
What do you think the world will be like in a second term with President Trump's second term? A lot of people
I know what it'll be like if we let her in.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And that ain't good.
Yeah. Well,
miserable track record. Appalling track record. No policies to speak of.
Yeah. And the border, right?
And she's got the IQ of a fence post.
I'm here to testify for truths and for honor. The man who has this country's best interest, Donald J. Trump, he's the only one who can save our country from destruction. We're losing loved ones every day from the criminals walking our streets. We must wake up and stop this crime. These false accusations that have been put upon Trump's life to try to destroy his chances of getting elected, these judges, they are the corruption of this society's morals.
Something was going to happen. This man was going to go through a metamorphosis and change lives, just like President Trump. When George Washington defended his country, he had no idea that he was going to change the world. Because without him, you can imagine what the world would look like. Guess what? We got the second George Washington. Congratulations!
You know, it might sound ridiculous, but this is exactly what is needed, and finally it feels like we're in a position to have that kind of influence and get the job done. And it's desperately necessary, folks. Hollywood used to be the powerhouse of American culture, probably one of the biggest exports to the world, and maybe one of the most important exports, considering the influence that American media has had on the rest of the globe. American movies and TV shows weren't just entertainment, they were symbols of American ingenuity, creativity, and culture. But now we're just pumping out all this low-quality, virtue-signaling woke drivel, this propaganda that nobody actually wants to watch. We've gone from being the cultural beacon to being a global punchline, and the people are sick of it. But now finally it seems like we're in a position of cultural power, and that's why this kind of thing is happening. People are tired of the propaganda that's being pushed by Hollywood, and it seems as though we're finally reaching a boiling point. The culture has shifted enough, and now something positive might actually materialize. A clear message is being sent politically and culturally. Across the globe, democracies have moved rightward, more so than we've seen in over 30 years, and now we're finally in a position to start putting some pressure on these Hollywood executives who have promoted this cultural rot based on the demands of the minority. We are finally, clearly in the driver's seat. We are the majority, and we can no longer be ignored. And look, some people are thinking, Hollywood ambassador, what does that even mean? What a stupid thing, won't do anything. But I think that might be a little bit of a naive response. This administration is headed to the White House with a clear mandate, a political and cultural mandate. Donald Trump is the president of the United States of America, and he's currently peaking. He's at the highest levels of approval he's ever been at. Meanwhile, the left is totally tanked globally and especially domestically. Well, considering the environment and considering the seat that Donald Trump sits in, I just have a feeling, I have this slight feeling that a lot of these production houses currently are sitting at freaking attention. The consumers don't want it, the pressure's been on, the spotlight's on them, and now the White House is applying pressure on them. We are winning and winning bigly. In other words, no longer can they ignore us, and clearly they can no longer suppress us. It seems like we're succeeding in our mission, and I gotta say, that's a beautiful thing, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.